Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, the Russians finally hit the jackpot, and that is they killed a mercenary and a Nazi in the same person. So they killed two birds with one stone. So let's see what's going on here in Ukraine, obviously. This article comes from Sputnik, and the country of origin is very strange of this mercenary. So this article comes from Sputnik. It's from the 13th of November 2022. Death of Japanese mercenary debunks claims of no neo-Nazis in Ukraine. Tokyo's Ministry of Foreign Affairs officially confirmed the death of a Japanese volunteer, quote-unquote, in the ranks of the Ukrainian armed forces on November 11. Japanese authorities called on all nationals to leave the Ukraine combat zone this past spring. However, social media has revealed that at least one Japanese citizen was still enrolled in the foreign mercenary battalions that are actively engaged in the country. Foreign mercenaries. Okay. These battalions often recruit on ideological grounds, reaching out to neo-Nazis and the ultra-right. One such Japanese used the call sign Dobre, meaning good in Russian and Ukrainian. Foreign mercenaries to the rescue? Okay, let's see. On February 27th, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced the creation of the International Legion for the Defense of Ukraine in the name of protecting Ukraine, Europe and the world. Well, Russia is in Europe, Russia is in the world, so protecting them too. Most countries did not formally support the move. British authorities, for example, warned that those who heeded the call could be prosecuted upon return. For its part, the Japanese government urged its citizens not to travel to Ukraine, quote-unquote, regardless of the purpose of their visit, end quote. However, the work of Ukrainian embassies in recruiting fighters to, quote-unquote, protect democracy continued. In July, the Russian Defense Ministry announced that the number of foreign mercenaries stood at 7,107, with most coming from Poland. On September 2nd, Russian Minister of Defense, Sergei Shoigu, informed that the number of mercenaries had fallen by more than two-thirds since the start of the special military operation. Mercenaries that don't exist. The foreign mercenary tracking telegram channel Track a Nazi Merc is gaining increasing popularity. This channel also regularly posts information and photos of neo-Nazis whose bodies show tattoos with portraits of Hitler and Bandera, Nazi German troop symbols, as well as signs of Nazi paramilitary units. Despite their ideological similarity, these men are quite diverse in terms of their national origin, stemming from the United States, Canada, Latin America, Scandinavia, elsewhere in Europe, and so it seems even Asia. Of course, none of these mercenaries want their photo to become public or have their faces recognized. Dobre, bashfully, Dobre, covers his face with a sunshine emoji. But most interestingly, the mercenaries' identities were revealed by their own posts on social networks. Through forgotten geolocations from the battlefields, video blogs from the trenches, trips to Ukrainian supermarkets, direct comments that they are now fighting against the Russians, and photos with famous Ukrainian troops. First Japanese volunteer died. Volunteer was in quotation marks. On November 10, information about Dobre's death appeared on social networks. The following day, the Japanese Foreign Ministry confirmed the story. The Telegram channel reported that the Japanese man apparently adhered to the militaristic views of Imperial Japan. In his microblog on Twitter, the mercenary shared the details of his adventures with his followers. And I'm quoting, "The comrades took some great pictures today. Dobre, you look great as always." Earlier, a photo of the alleged Japanese neo-Nazi mercenary. He has just a smiley face. Earlier, and he is dressed in military. So earlier, on November 4, it became known that fellow mercenary Zhang Yung from Taiwan has also been killed. He had fought in the Carpathian Scyth Battalion, a paramilitary unit in Ukraine, with the largest number of foreigners in its ranks. After his death, Dobre said that he, quote-unquote, will fight together with his spirit until the end of the war, end quote, and will visit his hometown after the end of hostilities. And I'm quoting here, "Yes, I'm a Nazi, so what's the problem?" End quote. The majority of mercenaries are devout neo-Nazis, with Dobre being just one of the dozens of examples. On November 6, a Portuguese mercenary from the Carpathian Sikh battalion, Rico Chavez, went to, quote-unquote, to war with the subscribers on the mentioned Telegram channel, where he confessed his sympathies for Nazism. And again, he says, "Yes, I'm a Nazi, so what's the problem?" I'm quoting, "I like to fight. I will kill all the Russians in Ukraine. Yes, I'm in the house of civilians on the front line. I'm not a NATO soldier. I'm in the Carpathian Sixth. I've already killed a lot of Russians." End quote. So this is the proof that there are some Nazis over there. Well, these guys are just, I think, misguided individuals, just using an ideology, just not an ideology, parts or one part of the ideology, and I don't even understand what the ideology is here. If these guys are, or say they are what they are, you know, what's the connection? So how can they, okay, let's say this guy says, "I'm a Nazi." Okay, tell me you, where do you have the ideology in your actions? What do you do? You killed Russians? Is that, okay, what's the connection? The Russians are not the Soviets, so the connection of being a Nazi and hating communists is not there. Okay, killing other people, it doesn't make you a Nazi by killing other people. Killing invaders, again, that's not a Nazi. Attacking, it's not a Nazi. So where exactly is the ideology? Hating or disliking other nations, is that the only, how should I say, that only applies to those guys, to that ideology? Does it say anything about anybody being superior, inferior? Does anybody says about any economic program, this so-called Nazis? Do they know anything about the Nazis' economic program or points? No. Anything about the social points of Nazism? No. So how are they? Just because they say it? I mean, at one point I might have thought that I'm God. Does that make me God? No. But, you know, so these guys, I think, are just misguided, like many others, who think that hating this kind of group or hating that kind of group and I'm the best is just, okay, that's just a Nazi ideology. It's like you say, "Emil, you're a bad person." Okay, well, I'm bad and I'm good. The same with everyone else. So, or, you know, it's certain kind of, "Emil, you're a bad, I don't know, arts person." Because let's say you don't know how to draw, but maybe I know how to carve. So you see, it's you can't be taken only in one little. So that doesn't, how should I put it? Or I act in a wrong, an unacceptable social way. Let's say, doesn't make me a okay. Emil, you're a rude person. Well, I was rude in that circumstance, But if you look in other circumstances, maybe I was fantastic. So then that little action or that particularity doesn't negate the rest, the entirety of everything you got. So these guys are Nazis. I'm not defending them in any way, but it's just, okay, I'm this, okay, tell me more about it. What do you know about it? Actually, you're not a Nazi, you're an idiot. Let's put it this way. Or maybe you think you are, but that gets you the idiot and ignorant. So anyway, what I take out of this is that there are foreign fighters over there, and I don't know if they're mercenaries or not, because I don't know if they get paid, and they're, you know, part of those volunteer group. So, you know, someone's freedom fighters are someone else's terrorists. That's the same thing here. But nevertheless, there are people who fight for other countries for various reasons. Some just like to. Some people have a shitty life, and that's the only thing where they feel fulfilled. Or I don't know, they try to get rich, famous doing that. Some people really love, you know, have values and say, okay, I'm fighting on the side of the right thing to do or whatever. Okay, good. You have values and aspirations outside of yourself. That means you're not selfish. You're not just self-centered over there and take care only about your little fame and fortune. So I don't know. They say those are Nazis by personal statement, but I don't know their actions. And mercenaries the same. I don't know, but they do. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.